was trying to get it so that it didn't make a noise every time somebody entered the room. So, first of all, good evening, everyone. My name is Tom Donohue. I'm the ANC Commissioner for 8A01. That's the Fairlawn community. The agenda for tonight's meeting is pretty simple. We're going to talk a little bit about the arrest or the apprehension and the drug arrest that occurred on 22nd Street. We're also going to talk about the ICE arrest that happened with Jose. And then we're also going to talk about the zoning application. I made a slight change to. Hey, how are you? The first thing we're gonna discuss is the zoning application discussion. We have the attorney for the project, Mr. Williams, that's here. We do have a couple of Fairlawn residents that that are also in the room. So what we'll do is I'll add Mr. Williams, and he can give us a brief introduction as to a little bit about the project, and I'll share that we do have okay. We have a couple of people from the community as well. So, Mr. Williams, do you want to just give us an overview of the project? We have a couple of residents here actually physically in the room with and any drawings or things that might help the community know exactly what's going on and why you're here.
Happy to, Commissioner Donohue, and thank you for inviting us tonight. I do have a presentation that I can share, if that's okay, for folks that are able to see the screen. Go ahead and do that. Okay. I just want to make sure that that's up on the screen.
It is up on the screen, yep.
Great. So my name is Zach Williams. I'm a land use attorney with Venable, which is a law firm in DC, and I'm representing the developer, the applicant in this project, which is District Line Development, led by Medvine. I don't know that he's on yet or he's able to join yet, but I think he's planning to join tonight. In any case, I can go forward with the presentation. This is a project that is at 2318, 2322, and 2324 Nicholson Street. It is a Board of Zoning Adjustment case, which we'll get into in a minute. And we are, this is our first meeting with the community. We did meet with Commissioner Donohue previously for a few minutes, and this is our first meeting with the community, and we expect there will be additional meetings as we move forward. So to introduce the project, this is a project that will consolidate 3 lots, which currently have 3 single-family homes on them at Nicholson Street. On the north side of Nicholson Street, you can see the lots that are highlighted in the red box below. What's important about this case is that these lots are all zoned to what's known as the RA2 district, which is the residential apartment zone district. So all the lots are already zoned for residential apartment residences, even though they're currently improved with single family. We are not changing the zoning on these lots. Just want to make that clear. This is an aerial view of the 3 properties to get a sense of the vicinity for folks. I'm sure most folks are familiar with where this is located. As we walk through the application, these are the current conditions. You're looking at the properties from Nicholson Street. That large building behind is just behind the project. And that's actually across the street, but just behind where these would be located. This is looking at the properties from the alley. This is the current condition today. Again, there's 3 single-family homes and a good bit of open space as well. Now getting into the elevations. These are the proposed project elevations for this project. And what I'll say here is that all of the building itself that we're proposing is it's entirely by right permitted in this zone. In other words, we don't need to get zoning relief for the building. The building, as you see it depicted here, is fully compliant with what the zone allows, even though it's obviously quite different from what is there today. The zone which currently exists on this block allows for this type of apartment construction. You don't actually have to ask for permission, it's already allowed. And what we do need some relief for, I'll get into a minute, doesn't have anything to do with the building itself or the apartments or the concept, but something a little bit different from that, which is related to the site plan, which is what this slide shows. This building will have an open courtyard at the rear with access towards from the alley for parking spaces and loading. All parking and loading would be happening off of the alley and not along Nicholson Street. And we are providing 62 affordable units. This would be an all affordable project. So all of the units here will be family sized affordable units. We also will have 6 formal inclusionary zoning units. Those are also affordable units, but they're administered by the city. The remainder of the units will be administered by the developer, but they will be affordable units. We will be providing. I think there's an echo, Tom.
Oh, okay. Hold on 1 second.
Okay. That seems better. No, no worries.
Okay, try that.
Yeah, that's. I think that works. So we will be providing 11 parking spaces, 19 are required, and we do need zoning relief for that. I still hear the echo. Tom, I'm not sure if others hear it.
Yes, I can hear it. That's for sure. Just a quick introduction. 7B1. Sorry for my delay in joining. Definitely want to presentation. Just to respond, just let you know that we also can hear it.
Try that now. I think I need to.
Okay, I'll continue on. So what we do need zoning relief for this project is for parking and partially for loading. We're providing 11 parking spaces, 19 are required, and we're providing a partial loading space. It's really more of a delivery space and a space for service vehicles. It doesn't meet the full width requirement of the loading code. I'm sorry, of the zoning code for loading spaces, but we are providing that loading space. One thing I'll note here about this project is that typically this project would require 9 parking spaces rather than 19. And the reason why 19 are required is actually a sort of odd quirk of the zoning regulations that the zoning commission is currently fixing. And we expect the zoning commission to make that change at some point in Q1 of 2026. And so going forward, the parking relief that we need to move forward with the project wouldn't be required. And I know that's a little bit confusing, but what it has to do with is that the proximity of the project to what's considered priority bus lines and other transit options on Pennsylvania Ave reduces the required parking. And so there's a quirk in the zoning regulations that exempts that reduction if the street that you're building on is part of the residential parking permit program, which Nicholson is. However, Nicholson does not have signage for that program. And so this is a sort of quirk of the zoning regulations that, among other changes, the zoning commission is going to be making. Actually, they've already considered it. We expect it'll be approved next year. However, as we currently say here today, the requirement is 19 spaces, not 9. Obviously, when it changes to 9, we'll have more spaces than are required. As for the loading space, the difference there is that rather than the 12 by 30 foot loading space that would typically be required for the project, we're able to provide a 10 by 20 foot space for service, delivery, and loading, which we believe is adequate. It allows us to get more affordable units into the building. It allows us to serve off the alley rather than off Nicholson Street, which we think is to everyone's, hopefully to the neighborhood's benefit, keeping traffic off of Nicholson. And so we think it will improve the project and won't to no detriment. And we do have a traffic engineering study to study that and to work with DDOT to make sure that DDOT is comfortable with that as well. Before I conclude, we do have some shadow studies here just to show how the building will, what types of shadowing the building will create to adjacent properties. And so, as I mentioned earlier, all of the properties on Nicholson on this side of the street could technically develop with this type of residential apartment development as a matter of right. But as we sit here today, it's obviously developed with single family zoning. So this just shows the different shadowing, mainly to the rear of the property in the winter time versus the summertime. This is something that we have to provide when we submit for the BZA as well. So to sum up, we're seeking support for two aspects of zoning relief: the parking relief and the minor request for the loading space difference. Not asking to not provide a loading space, but to provide one that's slightly less large than would be otherwise required. And that's really it. Everything else about the project is permitted, doesn't require any zoning relief from the BZA, and is in compliance with all of the zoning regulations on this side of Nicholson Street. So that concludes my presentation, Tom, and we are happy to answer any questions that folks may have.
Hello.
Sorry about that. What is your proposed timeline for it so far?
Proposed timeline is we expect that the BZA hearing, I believe, is scheduled for February, I believe. So we're still at the beginning of this process. Getting that echo again, Tom.
Sorry. So February is the hearing, but when will you anticipate actually breaking ground?
So we'd have to go through and get permits after the zoning relief is approved, which typically takes a few months. So I don't have the exact construction timeline, but I can get that for you. But I anticipate it wouldn't be until probably late summer next fall.
Okay, so I have a couple of questions from residents, maybe. Hold on a second. There you go. Right there. Here.
I have more of a comment. I live on the south side of Nicholson, and there are parking zone parking signs on both sides of the street at this moment since February. So I'm just wondering, because I noticed in the presentation and in the online documents that is not reflected.
Understood. And they're not the restricted signs, right? They're like the 2-hour signs where if you're zoned, then yeah, okay. So even with those signs, the zoning commission change is going to be that the reduction in parking will apply for streets like Nicholson and other streets in the district that have RPP programs on them. programs on them.
Right now it is.
2 hours.
It's 2-hour parking? Zone 8, right?
Yeah. Right, and when he's strictly, he's saying that the red ones, like only for 6.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the whole like.
Right. And that's what he's got, like,
For Sunday.
Right.
Which means people like, some of us like don't, you don't have to, for a long time, you have to eat that in this neighborhood. So I live around the corner, and suddenly my registration, I'm gonna have to get that, so that I can park on Nicholson. Like that.
Zach, were you able to hear that?
Could you repeat that, Tom?
So basically, some of us, when we register our car, it's not necessary, right, in this neighborhood to get zone 8. What you're saying is if you want to park on Nicholson after this, you have to be zone 8, even if you're registered to this neighborhood or whatever.
Oh, this project isn't going to change anything about the parking on Nicholson Street. My point was that any street in the district that currently has an RPP program on it, which includes Nicholson, and most residential streets in DC, frankly, are not eligible for the reduction in parking that otherwise would apply if you're next to, say, the metro or a priority bus line, like these properties are. The zoning commission is looking at changing that, and expected they will. And I can provide the zoning case because there's additional hearings coming up, but the expectation is that that's going to be a change that goes in Q1 and 26.
So what you're basically saying is the 2 proposed zoning exemptions pretty much are in a process of being sometime in the near future. You wouldn't even need to have these exemptions because the district is currently going away from those types of exemptions. Is that basically what I understand?
It still need the loading space relief. That's not changing. But that, as I mentioned, is not to not provide a loading space, but just provide one that's a little bit not quite as large as would otherwise be required.
Okay. Did you have a question? Go ahead.
Well, just as you said that you were providing 9 spaces, does that mean you're providing 9 spaces on the property? And then the additional will park on the street, is that how I'm saying?
They're on the site at the rear of the property. They're not on the street.
Right, it's the 9.
So and then there's 64 units, correct?
62.
62. Okay. So 9 spots will be on the property in the rear, and then anybody else with vehicles would need to park on the street.
Correct.
Okay. And does anybody go ahead?
So that could potentially be 50, whatever. Yeah, they could potentially be 50 more cars on the street.
We're about to get a football stadium.
And yeah, football stadium being the like the Nicholson is not a very long street. There's not really space for 50 more cars.
It's pretty cool.
And
as it is.
And it's pretty restricted parking of this and that as well. Like there just isn't any trailers on the cars.
When? Oh my God.
Yeah, true. I mean, I'm not exactly pro car here. I understand that you guys want this building because it's walkable to the metro. Technically, it's like just under a mile, and there are bus lines in Pennsylvania and Minnesota. So not everyone is village in that car, obviously. But I remember when they were doing the construction for a new building that's already on the city. Or even a family throwing a party, and there's no parking things. And not everyone is lucky enough that their house has a parking lot connected to it or whatever. And so I I've already talked to a lot of the neighbors on Nicholson about this, and they have, they just kind of be close with how that could be a possibility, because it's also not really, other neighborhoods in the city, people justify the idea of parking their car 2 or 3 blocks away and walking to it. Because that part of the city may have already been developed that way and whatnot, or there's other closer amenities, so they don't have to do that. This is just not, you're gonna get, I don't know how to push back or what kind of pushback we could make, but that seems pretty bold to just kind of tell everybody, hey, we'll give you 9 spots and then, play musical chairs in your neighborhood, with all your neighbors. Also, people in this neighborhood are pretty used to parking in front of their homes, and that makes them feel safe. And what you're basically telling them is, we're going to put this up, and when you get home from work, good luck. And during construction, I can tell you for a fact that the construction would fill up that street too. Oh yeah, they always do. I know through a lot of this construction, experiences that I've already worked on and lived through, whatnot, like that, we're gonna have to deal with however many years it takes to build this, with hundreds of dudes possibly rolling through every day, putting trash from their car on the sidewalk, not carrying, and showing up at like 6:30 in the morning, taking every available spot as soon as they can, because that's when they start. And so when we start rolling home around 4 o'clock or whatnot, we're not going to be able to get parking until the construction pattern. So like you're just presenting the neighborhood with a kind of choke point problem, and I do kind of feel like this is a smoke screen, especially with the way that you're talking to us about how you keep pointing out the fact that everything is zoned appropriately, and there's really no reason to talk to us. And that in a couple of months, you won't even really have a reason to talk to us about this, that you're making it pretty obvious that this is a smoke screen to just kind of, appease the fact that you're at least talking to us about something. Because I have not heard anything from this area. Still, like, those are just 3 abandoned properties to that continuous problem. How long have you guys owned these properties? Why has nobody been maintaining them for as long as they have? Like, you guys, we've all been living through the problems that those problems created. And now you're just telling us that we're going to have to continue living through more of those problems.
Understood. And I just want to point out that we actually are going to be meeting with 2 ANCs for this project. And I think Commissioner Adams is with the other ANC, S7C. So this is just the first meeting of multiple meetings that we expect to be having. And this is obviously not the full ANC meeting either. This is just 8A01 SMD. So the reason this is the first you're hearing about it, because this is the first meeting. The other thing I will say is that my client, the developer, just bought these properties. And so whatever was happening before doesn't sound like it was good. I think the idea is to clean this up and move forward and, build this affordable housing building as quickly as possible. And we can talk about a construction management agreement, and other things to make sure those things you've mentioned are mitigated as well.
And I think this is a great time to bring in Commissioner John Adams. So Commissioner Adams is the actual ANC commissioner. So the property is in Commissioner Adams' ANC. I am adjacent to it, hence why we were involved and why I was notified and why you were all notified. So Commissioner Adams and I had a good conversation earlier this week about the project, and I had invited him and encouraged him to also take part in this conversation. So I saw his hand up, so I'll give him the opportunity to also make comments as well. Commissioner Adams, good to see you this evening.
Thank you, Commissioner Donohue, and
thank you,
Mr.
Williams.
Williams. Mr. Williams. Commissioner Donohue, I think you may have to mute your computer if you have another microphone on over there. Using, and that way that should support with eliminating the. There you go. We good? Can you guys still hear me? Okay, great. So yeah, thank you. And yeah, we had a great conversation. And Mr. Williams, thank you for the presentation. I'm sorry I had a little technical difficulty trying to jump on this evening. But I do thank you, Commissioner, for the invite. And I wanted to, I count this a blessing to be able to sit and glean to get some of the immediate concerns of the community, particularly for those who I may not necessarily get to hear from, fall into your essence. But I did want to ask a couple things. So, Mr. Williams, in reference to the parking, let me ask you something. What's the projection in reference to staff running that building? How many staff members do you think will be there? And will that parking be allocated, or some of that parking be allocated for staff?
It's a really good question, Commissioner Adams. I don't have that answer right now, but I can certainly get that for you.
Okay, I was just curious. And definitely hear the concerns already in reference to how the influx of residents and possible parking needs will impact the immediate community as well. And thank you, Mr. Williams, for noting that we will definitely be able to have some discussions in reference to working out something, particularly with regards to the contractors and construction crew and allocating parking for them where it's not on the street. And some other variables, of course, speaking with ANC8A01 and our chair and the other commissioners, I'm sure we'll come up with some ideas, of course, Commissioner Donohue, with your input as well, to see what we could do in reference to appeasing the community best we can. I also chair the Committee on Economic Development under the ANC8A01 commission area. Obviously, a big part of what we're looking at is inviting development, particularly in the lower node of Pennsylvania Avenue, which is directly correlated with what we would call the Pennsylvania Avenue Small Area Plan. So it is exciting to know that we have some development coming, additional development coming in the area, and hopeful to get what we call a major anchor developer to come in as well as we move forward to further develop the lower node and beautify it and bring in what we call, I'll just call it a new landscape. One other thing, Mr. Williams, you said you're projecting to start maybe sometime in the fall of 2026. What is the projection on the term of this project? How long do you think this is going to take?
We'll get that for you. The client, the developer is supposed to be on. Unfortunately, he's had some child care issues tonight. I've been texting with him. And you know, he's going to know those answers better than me. And so what I would propose is I can get in an email to you and Commissioner Donohue these answers so that you can disseminate them and make sure folks have all that information.
Okay. And for the sake of 7B, ANC, the commission area, and us advancing efforts to make sure that we get you on our most immediate agenda, right? I know that next month, this is actually, we just had our last meeting for the year. Next month was voted as a recess period for the commission, so we won't be meeting in December. So I think it would be prudent for you and I to have a conversation so we can try to get you on that January docket, if that's good for you, okay? And give you an opportunity.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Other than that, I'm not going to, hold up the meeting. I definitely want to, I'm sure Commissioner Donohue has some great additional questions. Thank you for offering the details in reference to the variance with regards to the parking ask, Mr. Williams. I appreciate that. It gives me a little bit more clarity. I do have one more question. Referencing this variable in the park, the service area you spoke about, what would that, how would that impact in reference to the size difference that you're noting? Will you still be able to get a truck back there, or what does that look like? Smaller truck, larger truck?
Yes, we don't think it should impact the overall operations. And we have actually a pretty lengthy traffic study from our traffic engineer that I can share with folks that speaks to all of that analysis. we thought it was obviously important to have a space for something, delivery, loading, service, and things like that to take it off the street. We just weren't able to provide the full length space that you would see for, like, for example, the loading space requirement is the same whether you have 50 units or 300 units in terms of the width of the space. So obviously this is on the smaller side of that range. And so given we're coming in off the alley and not off a curb cut off Nicholson, we think it'll work okay. And I'm happy to provide the analysis that we have on that. DDOT also has to sign off on it, by the way.
Okay.
So we need to work with DDOT. They need to analyze it and make sure they agree. We'll need their support as well.
Okay, thank you for that. And I promise this is the last one. Since it just came to mind. I apologize, Commissioner Donohue, but one more. The other thing is the AMI in reference to the gauge when you talk about affordable housing. Can you give me a little backdrop on what, and I'm just talking about numbers here, what the numbers look like when you say affordable? These are going to be rental units, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And what would be the income variables in reference to what you deem as affordable? I heard the IZ component, which I'm happy to hear that as well. But if you could just give me a snapshot of what that looks like in reference to the income variable for affordable.
Yes. So there's the IZ units are 60% AMI for rental units.
Okay.
And the rest of the units will be voucher provided. So they'll be voucher eligible units. Which is a range of AMIs, but I believe it's usually in the 50% range or so of area median income, and that'll be all of the other units in the building. So it's a fully affordable project.
Okay, and I'm sorry, give me those numbers again for the affordable units, not the IZ.
Inclusionary, the other ones, I believe they're going to be it's in the 50% or so range, but I can get you that exact information.
Okay.
As well.
Okay.
That works differently than the IZ program. It's not administered by the city. The voucher program is a federal program through HUD. And so it's just a different program, but the ultimate outcome is all of the units are going to be available to folks earning somewhere in that range of the area AMI.
Okay. All right. And that helps just for preparation for January, just to get a snapshot of what that looks like and having that conversation of such a cluster, since you're saying the entire project at the end of the day is affordable housing, correct?
It is. And they're also mainly family size units, and we can talk about that as well. There's a significant number of 3-bedroom units, 2 and 3 bedroom units in this building. More than you would typically see in an apartment building in DC. I think most of the units are family size.
Okay. Okay. Will they also have smaller units or any set asides for seniors, anything of that nature?
Not seniors per se. The program is based on AMI and affordability rather than age restriction.
Okay. Well, thank you, and I will defer back to Commissioner Donohue. Commissioner Donohue, thank you for allowing me to jump in to ask a few questions. Mr. Williams, I look forward to engaging and moving forward with coordinating so we can have you guys come out in January. Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Adams.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Adams.
Commissioner Adams, thank you very much for joining us. As I talked to you on the phone, my experience is new with this. I'm 11 months into this, so I'm glad to have your expertise and your knowledge and your assistance on the line, and I'm glad to be working with you. For a long time, I thought that this side of the street was mine, so I'm glad to know that I have a good partner on the line, and that we're going to be working together. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I look forward to it. And again, I can't say enough. I appreciate you reaching out, and that means a lot. And thank you kindly for the effort. I appreciate it.
Definitely. Mr. Williams, dumpsters, I don't know if this is something that you get into this early in the planning, but I would assume that the dumpsters will probably be part of that zoning or that the spot where you'll be needing the zoning regulation, the exemption. With 52 units, one of the things I'm concerned about that I have in my other areas of my SMD are them not having enough dumpsters and trash overflowing and getting on the ground and there being rats and things like that. Do you have plans as far as how you're going to move forward with dumpsters and things like that, trash removal at this point? Or is it too early?
We do. It's on the plan, and also I'm happy to report that the developer has joined. Matt Medvine is on, and he can speak to that as well. Matt.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Sorry about that. I was trying to get the kids down. But yes, as Zach stated, we have an area that's very complicated with a row of dumpsters off the loading zone. There's a feedback going on there.
Oh, my fault. Sorry.
But yeah, so there on the plans, there's an area that we have allocated over by the loading zone for a row of dumpsters to handle all trash, recycling, etc. That's easily accessible for the trash vendors to reach along with all the tenants. Everything would be off the alley. Oh, sorry, Tom, you're muted again.
Yeah, I was just asking, just hit the button again and turn it back on. So we do have a couple of additional questions from the neighbors.
Concern probably going to be brought up in other conversations down the line. Those homes are also very old and probably covered in lead paint. So I'm not sure when this will come up and what meeting or conversation, but understanding the need, like their kids walk down the street to go to school every day. Understanding the need that like the construction has to happen the way you would do it in upper Northwest, just as well down here to deal with the lead and asbestos and whatever else is going to be in those homes. Also, I'm curious, with you guys coming to us and talking to us and trying to get us on your side, I'm guessing in some kind of way, is there a CBA in any kind of way? Like we have a community benefit agreement that are we going to get something out of letting you have parking or not bothering the city about you getting the loading dock spacing that you want? You know, like does the community, we just sit around and just kind of have these meetings and just tell us what you're going to do? So a CB, you know, understanding what we might be able to, what we get out of this as a community. And then understanding that, like, at some point, the conversation of like what, see, because the last building that was built, I do not personally believe that they did an adequate job of taking down the buildings with the amount of dust that ended up covering people's cars and going into people's yards, and the neighbor who had a vegetable garden had all, who knows what kind of dust got on their vegetables. You know, and so these are the things that in this neighborhood, I want to make sure that you guys are really keeping track of and really understanding, because I know for a fact that if you were in another neighborhood uptown, those conversations wouldn't even have to happen.
So to address the first concern. Oh, sorry, Tom, can you mute again? Sorry. But to address the first concern, yes, we are following the same procedures that are required and expected of all development and contractors within the city. We are, as part of the permitting process, getting lead and asbestos reports and inspections done that will be submitted to the city. Based on those findings, the associated or necessary abatement will be conducted prior to any demolition, whether that be lead and then that be contained and abated, whether that be asbestos and that be contained and abated, what have you. All of the appropriate and necessary steps will be followed and adhered to make sure that everything is abated or remediated, whichever is the appropriate term in this instance, prior to any demolition starting. We don't, you know, we've worked and have some properties in Southeast. We don't operate any differently in Southeast than we do in Northwest or Northeast. We're a small family outfit that treats every project the same. We maintain our buildings and we treat all of them the same regardless of where they are. We have a long history with the District of Columbia, with a 5-star rating in their ranking system for contractors and developers. We have no issues. We're not about to change that approach, and we'll treat this just like the project should be treated anywhere in the city. And that goes throughout the entire construction process. We're not sure who we'll be working with on the contracting side for the entire portion of it, but whoever it ends up being will be upheld to the same rigorous standards that we expect on all of our projects and any other competent developer and owner would expect within their projects, not only to keep the neighborhood happy and safe, but also to keep the job site safe. A clean job is a good job. And that goes with logistics, that goes with communication and coordination, et cetera. So as for CBA, I mean, we're happy to have a conversation. What we've typically done in the past is we'll come to some form of agreement in terms of lines of communication, agreed upon steps for whether it be daily cleanups, weekly street cleanups, whether it be dedicated, a dedicated liaison on the team that's either in the office or on site. We'll try to keep everything focused on the site, just as boots on the ground is a bit faster to respond than someone that might be in the office. But throughout the course of the project, we would be committed and dedicated to communicating and working with the neighborhood to make sure everyone is kept up to speed and any concerns are addressed in a timely fashion. However that gets done, we're happy to go back through previous agreements we've done, or we're open to other conversations and ideas. But again, at the end of the day, our goal here is to continue enhancing the neighborhood and stay part of the neighborhood. We're not doing some project and then leaving. We're staying in the area, we're staying involved, and we're going to continue to be community members and stakeholders in the community, just as you guys. So, that is a commitment that we are happy to give with you guys. And again, we are happy to flesh out through conversations with you guys and Tom and John as to whatever those preferences and requests, et cetera, look like. We're happy to have the discussion and flesh through that.
Do we have any questions from the Teams meeting? Do we have any questions from the Teams meeting?
I have a question. I didn't hear him answer the question that was asked about the parking.
Sorry, I don't think I'd been on the call at the time of the parking question. What was the parking question?
Yeah, Matt, could you give us an overview of the parking situation briefly?
As it's sorry, this feedback thing is really as it stands now, there are 11 spaces in the back, and that goes towards the tenants of the building. That is roughly just under a quarter of the tenants in the building, or at least the units in the building.
And I think John had asked earlier.
So go ahead, Commissioner Donohue.
I was just going to follow up to the questions. One of the questions you had asked about staffing. Now that we have Matt on the line, maybe he has a better idea. And then any of the other follow-up.
Right. So, Matt, I think part of what we was asking is What does it look like in reference to projections for staffing, just the overall day-to-day running of the building? And will some of that parking, allocated parking, be designated for staff as well?
As it stands, we will have one dedicated maintenance kind of superintendent tech. We do not plan on giving the car. The two superintendents we have with us right now, one of which we are contemplating bringing over there, they don't own a car. They just use public transportation. So no, the plan is to keep the parking spaces for the residents, for anyone that ends up getting those. And then as for maintenance, staffing, the on-site presence will be one dedicated person, and then they will be the point person both for the community and the building, and then they'll have the support in the back of house interfacing with the management company.
Okay. Now, how many units do you think project on being set aside for those with physical challenges or differences?
I can
If
pull
any?
up the plans. I don't remember exactly. I believe it is 8. That number is sticking out for whatever reason, but that's something that's on the plans that we can confirm.
Okay.
See if I can pull that out.
And then, so going back to parking, how many of those parking spots will be specific for those who need specialized parking, for handicap parking?
There will only be one permanent handicap space, and then there will be one temporary loading space. So if there's, an assisted shuttle or Uber, or if someone wants to be dropped off, they have a loading space to be able to get unloaded comfortably with the space needed. But there is only one dedicated ADA space for permanent parking.
Okay. Good to know. I was wondering, did that answer the young lady's question when she referred back to the parking question? Ma'am, did that answer your question? Is she still on?
You can go and ask. If not, she doesn't respond.
Few more, I already had a conversation. All of this about the parking, the apartment buildings across the alley, the graves, they have underground parking. And, what is the reason that this building can't have underground parking? Why you can't do like other buildings have done where we elevate the building up, and the parking under like all around under the building. And then, so that was one thing to then and have at least to think of people resting that. But yeah, why?
Unknown participant is now exiting.
So it's kind of muffled, but from what I gathered, you were asking why we weren't doing either underground parking or an elevated parking deck below the residential. Is that correct? So to answer that question, first, actually, before I answer that, I just confirmed, yes, there are 8 handicap assisted living units within the building. And then to answer your question regarding the parking, unfortunately, based on the regulations as it stands now with the zoning, as to the FAR and the buildable square footage, height of the building, etc., we are constrained to not be able to raise the building. And then going down, as one would imagine, there's a pretty extensive cost that comes with digging and going down multiple levels. And to dig, to go down multiple, not even multiple, even just to go down one level just for parking, unfortunately, the math doesn't work out to pencil out to be able to carry the deal. So it became a financial reason based on the basis of the cost of the properties, along with the cost of construction, which things have gone up quite a bit, unfortunately, not in our favor since we started and endeavored on this project a few years ago. And we don't necessarily see things getting any easier or better for us. But at the end of the day, the subgrade parking was a financial reason. The above grade parking was a zoning constraint reason. Below grade was just a mathematical financial reason or constraint.
So, the question is the AMI, the average income or area median income. Is it to the neighborhood or is it to Washington DC? Okay, those are two different median incomes.
It's citywide.
That doesn't seem very affordable.
What's the affordable AMI for the voucher program that you're expecting here?
For us, it's like 50%. It's pretty
I
low.
thought, yeah. So that's lower than the typical affordability requirement in DC for rental inclusionary zoning units is 60%. So the majority of the units in this building will be around 50. So they'll be even more affordable than your typical required affordable housing project in DC.
Earlier you said, what I heard was that most of it is going to be at 60%. And then a select amount of apartments is going to be at the 50%. So you're saying the majority of them.
Oh, yes. All but six. Six will be at the 60% level. That's the inclusionary zoning program. And the rest, correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, all of the rest will be voucher program, around 50% AMI.
Correct. That is the plan. And then for the IZ units that are at 60, we have no control over those. Those are units that we essentially hand over to the city and their inclusionary zoning department and program, and they handle that. We have no control over what they do, who they fill it with. Yeah, I don't think we even get to vet people, truthfully, because I think they get vetted to get into the program in general. So I think we really don't have much of a say, if anything, as to who goes in. We just hand those essentially to the city and they do what they will with them.
I know that's an ongoing debate, Commissioner Adams, once again, in reference to making sure that property owners and developers have some say in reference to placement, even if they are going through the IZ. So I know there's still a lot of work behind that, just based on outcomes of past interactions and with regards to certain voucher programs, as well as, of course, IZ, that have not necessarily always been as favorable as the community would have liked. Just cutting to the chase here, and hopeful more dialogue can be shared, and there can be more opportunities for developers to vet in a way where it's supportive of not only the facility itself, but of the community as well. So more to come on that, but I know that has been a major conversation, particularly with renters, homeowner, owners, if you will, landlords, and also developers.
100%, we are in alignment. I mean, we've been pushing and pulling every lever we know and asking every person we know within the administration and the council, et cetera, to try and get that parity, if you will, between the ability to vet, because we understand, both as people that have lived in the city for most of our lives and have lived in buildings with affordable tenants and also IZ tenants, but also now as owners of it, it's beyond frustrating to be powerless, not just as a neighbor, but even more frustrating as a property owner to literally have no power over it and be basically asked to just deal with it. And at the end of the day, we're the ones that have to either take whether it be the violations, whether it be the destruction of the property because a tenant that wasn't vetted doesn't care about the property itself and makes it a nightmare for their neighbors, the community, and us. And at the end of the day, we're stuck with it just like everyone else is, to us mostly to a financial sense, but still, you know, it's something that we have to deal with. And it's excruciatingly frustrating. So yeah, to any end that we can push that effort, we are very much in alignment, and we have multiple efforts of our own, along with those in our network and community on the ownership and development side that are pushing for that. So we are certainly in alignment there.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay, Matt, just as a, can we, moving forward as we start the winter, can we make sure that we are taking care of the property, the sidewalks, things like that, so that way when we do get snow, you have a team ready to make sure that the sidewalks and things, because I'll be honest with you, the property has not been kept up. The abatement team through DC has always had to go out and mow and take care of the property. So now that you're in ownership of it, can we make sure that moving forward the property gets cut and the sidewalks are kept clean and things throughout the summer or throughout the winter and onward?
100%. I mean, as far as we know, I have reports. Documentation from our vendors since July when we fully took over the site. That our vendors were making on top of it. So they would send us pictures after each route, if you will.
You did since July?
I believe it started at the end of July, supposed to. I can go back and look, but I know at least through September, the second half of August through September and October. So just on those properties. So those are paid. But to answer your question, either way, yes, we have dedicated vendors that maintain all the property after it snows. If it's mowing, etc.
Okay. Are there any other members not in the room but on teams that have any other additional questions? Sure.
It's really just for you, but
Yeah.
I'm wondering how we work together in anticipation of the hearing in February. If there's like a way for us to consolidate efforts.
So, and I think that this is a further conversation with John as well, because both of our commissions will be working at it. This will go before our full commission as well. I have a every month meeting, so this can be put back onto the agenda for December's meeting and for January as well, so that we'll have a continual discussion about it. John's certainly welcome to attend our meetings as well. And John and I will work out a sort of a back and forth as to how the best way to approach it, making sure that my commitment to you guys is to making sure that your voices are all heard. And that's very important to me. And I'm sure it's important to John as well. If at the very least, you know that for every month, there's always fourth Tuesday of every month, no matter if it falls on, it's always happening. So we'll be here next month as well, a couple of days before Christmas. So, and of course I'm always accessible via phone or email as well. So, but we'll make sure that you guys are involved in the conversation, just like that's why I put out the flyers to make sure that, because if you're not on my mailing list, you may not get it. So, and it's hard to capture everyone's information to do that, but yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I have to go, but I'm happy that we're here.
Awesome. Can you drop me an email? You can't, my email's at the top of the bar. Okay, so thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it. All right. Hearing any other questions? No? Okay. Zach and Matt, I thank you very much for coming and attending. It sounds like this will be an ongoing conversation. I know John and I will get together to discuss the couple of things on our ends, along with sending it to our commissions. we'll probably move our meeting to our full commission again, probably till January. I'm going to think. I think I said I may have done it in December, but I think that we still want to continue to have conversation with the neighbors and answer any questions that they have. So I think both our commissions can take this up in January and go from there. But I appreciate both of your times, man. I know you had some. I appreciate you getting on late. I want to wish you both a very happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your time with your family. I know that both of you took some time out because you're spending time with family. So I appreciate you taking that effort to join us today. And we'll be in touch soon.
All right. Thank you so much. We appreciate the time and everyone's efforts towards this project. Have a great Thanksgiving, everyone.
Have a great
John,
holiday.
I appreciate you adding yourself as well. We'll be in touch in the coming days. I appreciate you very much.
Absolutely. Look forward to it. Enjoy your holiday.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thanks, Sean. Happy holidays.
You know, where they have rendering building information online.
No, but I can email them too. I do have them.
Right, yeah, the pictures that you put on the brochure, is that like the only pictures they
I
have?
think and what we saw tonight was the only renderings that I have at this point. Yeah. But I'll send you if there's specific things we can follow back up with them as well that you'd like to see. But I'll send you the packet that I got as part of being the commissioner. So can you drop me an email as well?
Yeah.
And I'll make sure you get them off. So I'm going to go ahead and continue on with other news. There's not too many things, and we'll get out of here hopefully a couple minutes early. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the ICE arrest that occurred on a couple weeks ago at the corner of 22nd and Naylor Road. There was a young man who had a moped that on the sidewalk. Somebody had called him up on the sidewalk, and he was having a conversation with them. And MPD made a stop and then actually turned him over to ICE, who was assisting in this DC Safe initiative. He was cited. I think he was given a warning and released right into the custody of ICE. What we're finding out is that these sort of jump outs are occurring, and the city is saying, well, we're not working with ICE, it's just the fact that the federal partners in ICE are actually joining these DC Safe initiatives. So they're joining in with MPD. And so it's not necessarily the fact that sorry about that. It's not the fact that they say that we're working with them. It's just that they're joining us. And so I worked for about a week to get in touch with with the family, and was able to do that. And I'm trying to bring him and his family as much resources as possible. However, this was a topic of discussion at our last full commission meeting, where we had a discussion with MPD about this, and we probably got the most detailed reports as to actually how these jump out crews are happening. And so I would point everyone to my Facebook page to see that interaction. It was pretty detailed. They literally have 4 or 5 different groups of 10 to 15 people in these jump outs that they're using. And it became a big story with NBC4 and Mark Seagraves. So I would encourage everyone to take a look at that and just be aware that this is happening in our community more and more. And our And so it's just something that we really need to address. And I know that our commission is working on potentially a resolution to help address that. We also had, there's only a couple of quick things. We also had an arrest in a fairly large drug bust that occurred on 22nd Street, directly across the street from the lot that is now under construction, 1409. This was 1410 22nd Street. There was a previous business owner that lived there that was shut down for selling weed. And when they shut that down, apparently they started selling it out of their house. And APCA came through and made an arrest of an individual along with a significant amount of weed and other pills and things like that. So this was somewhat of a surprise to me, at least. And so, these types of things are, taking the drugs off of our streets. I also want to point out the 2200 block of Minnesota Avenue. Several months ago, I walked down the street with some other members of our community, and I made a commitment to you all saying that we were going to stop the drug selling out in front of Boone Elementary. And although there's still activity in the parking lot next to the liquor store, we have dramatically decreased the drug selling out in front of that building. And so a lot of that has to do with MPD and also the property owner there, because my understanding is they actually put a police officer that's living in the building now. So as you drive by, please take a note at how clean the street has become. And that's a direct effort from Commissioner Davis and myself and all the other community members who, marched down the street with signs and encouraging the district to really take some movement on enforcing, having MPD arrest those that were selling drugs right out in the open. So I want to applaud and thank MPD for their efforts with that. One thing I'd like to say is that it is getting cold out. And so I want to make sure that everyone has the shelter hotline number, because those that are unhoused are our neighbors, and we want to continue to treat them like they are, and make sure that you have the numbers for the shelter hotline. And that number is 202-399-7093. Again, 202-399-7093. If you see somebody that should be, in a shelter, you can call that number. They will actually come and pick them up and take them to a shelter where it's warm. One thing why it's special to me is because if you remember a couple of years ago, we had Miss Angie that who lived under the bridge, the 395 bridge on Pennsylvania Avenue. And I share the story because she made a pretty impactful moment in my life, and so as so many of us drove by her, and even though she was a feisty one at times, she was still our neighbor. And so if you see somebody in distress, or you see somebody laying out, please offer to call the shelter hotline for them and have them come and get them into somewhere warm. Again, that number is 202-399-7093. With that said, I want to open it up to the rest of the community to make sure that to see any input or thoughts. I know Thanksgiving is around the corner. Also, if you haven't gotten a turkey yet, I do know that the Surprise Market directly across the street from Boone was giving out turkeys this evening, and I'm sure if they have any left, that they will continue getting them out tomorrow. So if you haven't yet gotten your turkey, or know somebody that hasn't gotten a turkey, please feel free to stop by. I know that they've been giving them out this evening. So Are there any questions or any matters that you'd like me to address? I know that DC water issue in the past, we've been working through those, the community, and those that were affected are still attempting to mitigate all of the issues. I do know that they're working on bringing in some new equipment that'll help with the smell. The productivity has begun again. They had stopped it for a while, and so they're stepping that back up again. So the noise hopefully has gotten better with all the padding that they've put up. However, there are still residents that are still affected by the sewer backup, and they're slowly getting their appliances and boilers and things all replaced as time goes on. So are there any other matters from the community that the community would like to discuss? So I also want to say thank you to the many people who gave candy for thanks for Halloween. Halloween was a success. We were out in front of Kramer Middle School for about an hour, and then we weren't getting a lot of people, so we took a little wagon and we just walked through the streets and found a lot of kids and was able to give candy out that way. And so thank you to all who participated. We are still working with Galilee Baptist Church, so I want to continue to thank them for their community engagement with the community and their dedication to our community. This past week, they gave out 10 turkey packages and baskets to members of our community. They've been working with Kramer Middle School as well. We still have a good need for children's coats. So if you have any used or lightly used or new coats that you'd like to donate, please let us know. We are still looking for coats in general as well. There's also the members of the community that I know that I've given out several from a couple of the neighbors who had given me coats. So if you have coats or especially children's coats, please let us know so that we can get them right out and make them available to the students and to the community. You can just contact me if you have them, and I can swing by to get them or work something out. So thank you. A special thanks to Galilee Baptist Church for their continuing taking care of our community. Also, last night's newsletter, I put in somebody had asked about how to make a donation to Galilee Baptist Church that would go directly into our community. Reverend Odom, who is on, yes, Reverend Odom. I think again, thank you for allowing us to use your facility for the church to have our meeting, and all the work that you've been doing. She's constantly on phone calls and meetings over with Kramer and their team, and so there's a lot of things in between meetings.
Participant is now exiting.
There's a lot of things in between meetings where we actually are meeting with various community partners to see how we can help and how we can continue to support them. So a special thanks to them for giving back to our community. It's really, really appreciated, and of course, allowing us to use the church every month for this meeting. So thank you, Reverend. Oh, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, I just wanted to make sure we are currently doing this coat drive with Kramer. And if anybody has any coats, if they can drop them off at the school, and we can, they do have a washer there. So, I mean, we can wash some coats as well if they're, in great condition. And we're doing this through the 12th of December. We're going to get some new coats, but we'll take some used, clean, wearable coats as well. And it's not going to be a one-time distribution. We're handing out these coats as they come in, as they're needed. So we'll be doing this through the 12th of December. But thanks, Tom. Appreciate your great work.
Thanks, Reverend Odom. It's so good to see you as always. Good seeing you on Saturday. Thanks again for giving out those turkeys to our community.
Yeah, I hope the kids were able to pick those up.
I either hear God speaking from above or there's somebody on a microphone here at the church. So they're doing some sort of work here at the church. So, but I hear his voice. So I appreciate you allowing us to have the meeting here.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Glad,
Are there
glad we
any
can help.
other comments? Thank you. Are there any other comments or thoughts from the community at large? Also seeing Trevor, I am going to call him out as well because while the whole fiasco is going on with the sewer backup, Trevor did a phenomenal job at creating a backdrop for us that I didn't have to worry about. It was he gave it all to us and we set it up, and there's some pretty nice pictures of some of the kids that stopped by on my Facebook page. So Trevor, special thanks to you for helping us out, and you had just gotten back from vacation, so he put something together and it was fantastic, and I appreciate your I really appreciate you doing that. It was one less thing that I had to do. So thanks again for that. I appreciate that.
No problem, Tom. Anytime. Glad to be part of the community.
Well, we're definitely going to be getting you involved more and more as the months go on. So if you haven't heard, I'll also just make mention of this. If you haven't heard, Mayor Bowser made an announcement today that she will not be running for re-election. No, I am not running for mayor. Just kidding, because some people have asked. Believe it or not, I have no interest in running for mayor. However, it is an important. It's going to be a very interesting 12 to 14 months to seeing how this plays. It's going to be a very important time for our communities, and to see how this political atmosphere is going to change. So continue to stay with us together. The last thing I would like to point out and ask for community involvement is I would really love to see all of you at the community lighting of our Christmas tree, of our holiday tree. The Fairlawn Citizens Association will be gathering the community, and I would genuinely love to see all of you there. Please come out. It's on Friday, December 6th at Triangle Park, which is the corner of Marionberry Avenue and Minnesota Avenue, that little park right there. We're going to have a tree there that will light, and it would make me nice and warm, and it would be great to see all of you come out. Please spread the word. Please grab a neighbor. One of my goals as your ANC commissioner is to help bring you all together. One of the great things that came of the sewer backup, if there's anything good, was that the community actually came together really well, and a lot of them actually continue to speak, and they're together, and so they communicate a lot more than what they did before, and I'm hoping that we can continue to have community-oriented events like that. But in order to do that, we need you to come out. So there will be some hot chocolate or some warm refreshments and things from the Fairlawn Citizens Association. And so I ask that you consider coming out. It's at 4:00. And so please join us. With that said, is there anything else from the community? So on behalf of my family, my family, my mom is down in Florida, and I just want to wish you all a very safe and happy Thanksgiving. I'm not going anywhere. I don't really have family nearby, but I'll be I'll be around. So they are Best Boys and Poets are doing a Thanksgiving Day lunch. I put the flyer on my Facebook page, and so you can scan it, and you can actually join us for lunch. They're doing the whole lunch for everyone. So that's where I'll be if you'd like to join us. I do have a couple extra seats I put down. So if you'd like to join me, you're welcome to do so. Otherwise, have a very safe and enjoyable Thanksgiving, and I will see you next month, the fourth Tuesday, I think it's the 23rd, right before Christmas. So hopefully you'll join me, and I'll see you all then. So thank you for everything, and I'm always available. My number is 202-560. 560-1994, and you just remind me that there were chat messages. Sorry, I was not monitoring that. But let me see if there's anything. I don't think I missed anything, and I'll look back at it, of course, and then anybody can email me, tom.donahue@anc.dc.gov. So goodbye, everyone. Have a great weekend and enjoy your Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, Tom.
Thanks for everyone.